weaponry rock-hewn churches of Ethiopia. Find the most extraordinary. Pilgrims reach them through a maze of corridors and galleries, a real labyrinth leading to the bottom of a huge pit, over 30 feet deep, at the center of which stand the sanctuaries. These churches are huge monoliths, hollowed out with picks, gutted from within, their altars, pillars, vaults, chiseled out. The decorations and bas-relief are extremely varied. There are over 200 churches along these lines in Ethiopia. The most ancient sanctuaries are in Lalibela. They date back to the early 13th century. For more than 750 years, 20 generations of hermits have lived and been buried there. In the sides of the underground passages, these burial vaults or mere communal graves mark their resting place. According to the legend, the priest king Lalibela was ordered by Jesus to have these churches built to constitute a symbolic Jerusalem in Africa. But then what induced Lalibela to have these sanctuaries hewn out of the rock rather than build them up stone by stone? The need for places of refuge from enemies? A desire to be in communication with the powers of the underworld? In any event, this new Jerusalem is a stupendous act of faith and bears astonishing witness to the love of a king for his God. And this architecture so fascinated Ethiopia that a century later, several other mountains concealed monolithic churches. A labyrinth of subterranean galleries link up the churches of Lalibela. According to the local priests, one of them goes right to Jerusalem and even goes under the Red Sea. Although the art of painting is in evidence everywhere, there is practically no sculpture at all. This is paradoxical for Africa, where religious art is traditionally expressed in masks, wooden, stone, or ivory statues. Here, the Ethiopians comply with the tenets of Judaism in their obedience to the first of the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not make to thyself a graven thing. So this metalsmith is allowed only to produce objects of worship which are indispensable for religious celebrations. First, he models a wax mold, then presses clay into it, and finally puts it over a fire. The clay matrix hardens, the wax melts, and all that remains to be done is cast the metal, gold, silver, or bronze. Once cooled, the metal simply requires finishing. For perhaps the 100th time, his first attempts were made in... Here, the fledgling monks, as early as the age of 7 years, learn Ge'ez writing. They have to learn the 2 sacred books by heart. Kebra Nagast, the glory of the kings, and Fertha Nagast, the book of the law. They will also learn Amharic literature, made compulsory in the 13th century. It was the Amharic princes who had the famous Chronicle of the Kings written to justify and glorify their right to the throne. It was he who was to help the church break the grip of Islam. Travelers, adventurers went everywhere to seek his fabulous kingdom. Marco Polo thought he had found it in Mongolia. It was only in the 14th century that Ethiopia, the rock from which the sanctuary is built. The cistern symbolizes the Jordan, and its water is thought to be purifying. The clergy, the deacons in their white vestments, the high priest in black. From the depths of the rock come the oriflamme, the procession banners kept in the underground churches. In this colorful display of velvet cloaks and myriad parasols, a great sacred ceremony is to be performed, the most prestigious of Ethiopia, atop the walls of Debra Marayam. To the strains of the masenko, a one-stringed violin, to fifes and drums, 200 deacons beat time. This dance symbolizes the gaiety of life and prayer. It is a hymn of fervor and happiness. Under the red canopy, the priests also beat time, singing beside their abuna, the bishop of the province, dressed in black. A sumptuous ceremony worthy of King David and King Solomon. Solomon, whose 225th descendant, Haile Selassie, was the last king of kings.
Der liturgischen Sprache Äthiopiens. Säulen gliedern die Kirche in eine fünfschiffige Basilika nur nach strengem Fasten zur Verehrung reichen darf. Der Priester gleicht völlig den uralten Vorbildern an den Wänden der Golgotha-Kirche. In seiner unstillbaren, unerfüllbaren Sehnsucht erbaute sich der König hier in der Golgotha-Kirche das geheimnisvolle Diakon.